Hey guys, I'm Laurel with Adventures in Precision, and today we're here with Matt Wilson and Matt Aikenhead with Ray Allen, and we're going to talk a little bit about traveling with dogs to matches and what all you need. Hey Wilson, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Matt Wilson. I work for Ray Allen Manufacturing. We make professional canine gear for the government and citizens and police and military and everybody like that. We've been in business for 75 years. I've been with the company for close to 10, and we design, awesome bulletproof products for dogs. So
So I'm Matt Aikenhead. I've been with Rayon 15-ish years, I guess. Working in product
be
development.
16 this year.
16 this year. Is that right?
hmm
Holy crap!
Uh, yeah.
Whatever. It's a really long time. Mostly do product development, sales, contract stuff. Matt and I work together on larger contract stuff. If you go to canine events, you'll probably see us at some of those. Started out training dogs when I was really young, like titled my first dog in competitive obedience in 1980. So it's been a few years, and I've competed in everything from I've done everything from race sled dogs to hunt coon dogs to competed in Schutzen and worked with law enforcement and all kinds of fun stuff over the years. So anyway, that's kind of who I am.
So a lot of the times when traveling to matches, you'll see a lot of guys bringing their pets and their dogs, and so we're kind of wanting to learn a little more about that today. We had a poll on Instagram and Facebook asking some questions. Our first one is, how do you guys suggest dealing with dogs in the hot summer months? A lot of these matches are during the summer, and it gets pretty hot. So how would you suggest dealing with keeping a dog with you?
You want to go ahead, Matt?
Sure. I'm in Colorado, so the elevation is a little bit different than on the East Coast where you guys are at. One thing that, is important here because it's really dry is just keeping airflow. There's a couple products that you can use, between having sunshades or anything like that in your car, and there's also like tubes that you can use to like attach to your air conditioning vent to vent with the dog. That really helps with that. But really, the most important thing is water and airflow.
Yeah. So one of the things or a couple things I think are handy. One, you can get a crate fan that hangs off the front of the crate that will blow air. And we actually have Rayon is a pretty high flow crate fan that they sell, and basically we use it on law enforcement vehicles for the windows. So you can run the fan, actually draw air through the window. You can also mount that to a crate. I use a DeWalt like 20-volt fan that I can sit in front of the crate, turn it on, and move air like that if I'm not running the truck with AC. The biggest thing is, one, if the vehicle's in shade, and like Matt said, keeping the keeping sunshades in the windows, stuff like that, keeping airflow going, making sure he's hydrated, and then the third thing would be the third thing that on the law enforcement side that you'll see used is heat alerts. So you actually have a temperature sensor in the car that you set the temperature you want it to alert you at, and if the temperature goes above a certain amount, it'll actually send him a notification to a pager. So from the from the higher end side, I guess that's kind of the tool of choice as far as making sure or being able to check in on your car and make sure that the temperature is where you want. And the biggest thing for that is if you're going to leave the dog in the car with the car running, you want to make sure that nothing happened. Like the car didn't, you didn't have some kind of failure, electrical failure or something like that where the car shuts off. And now all of a sudden the air conditioning is not running, you don't know it, and then there's a crisis. That's kind of what that system is a backup for.
Okay, so airflow, water. Check. Got it.
Airflow, water, shade, and some way to keep track of them.
Even like on the civilian side of it, going to trials and stuff like that, one big thing is I always set an alarm. So I would set multiple alarms on my just on my phone that would go off or my watch, and just so like I would just constantly go back and check and just make sure the dogs were good, make sure there was good airflow. One thing I've seen also, especially people that are running like big cargo vans, is those coolers. I don't know, DeWalt or whoever is. Have you seen those, Matt?
Not familiar.
Like where they're it's literally just like a cooler that has a fan connected to it that runs off a
Oh,
battery,
the blows.
and so it's like constantly pushing like the ice
Right,
cold
right, right. It's like a
into
swamp
the
cooler for your portable
yeah
swamp
yeah
cooler.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that would be slick.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so that's another way that I've seen people run with dogs, especially if they got like a cargo van with multiple kennels. That's one way that I've seen.
The
But
other thing that's
yeah, just
really
airflow and water,
The
shade.
other thing that's really slick is there's a company out that makes a portable air conditioner, a portable rechargeable 12-volt air conditioner that you can like sit outside and run a hose to the crate and it would blow cold air. I can't think that's like it's like EcoFlow or do you know what that
Mm.
is, Laurel?
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
That would be a really slick way to do something like that. I haven't tried one, but I've seen them running and they seem like they'd be really handy.
Yeah, but again, it's just keeping them out of the sun, keeping them shaded, get the air moving. That's the most important part. A big mistake people do though, and this is a good one to make sure of, is people tend to put like ice and stuff in their dog's water, which is not a good thing. It can actually cause like dietary and stuff issues and locking up because the ice makes the stomach muscles lock up. And so you actually don't want to put ice and stuff, make the water cool. Normal water is just fine.
Should have been a veterinarian.
No.
Not the case.
All right, so one of our next questions is kind of like on a safety standpoint, we have a lot of loud gunshots in dogs' ears, as we know, are kind of sensitive, actually pretty sensitive. So, is there any safety equipment that you would suggest bringing to the range with you to put on your dog, with you to save your dog if something happened, anything of that sort?
From 120 to 185 decibels, depending on what Google you believe, is basically where you start damaging a dog's ear. So I mean, you can actually get a decibel level reader for your phone and like sort of take a look at how bad it is, depending on what you're shooting, how far the dog is away, stuff like that. If you actually have him up on the range, then that's a different conversation. But when you're looking at, having your dog around loud noises, there's some ways to kind of test that pretty inexpensively. Like I said, the app's free, and we sort of know that 120 number is a number to be concerned with. And then from there, you go into Ear Pro, and there's a number of different Ear Pro. RexSpecs makes a pretty slick one that just goes over like a sock.
It's the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes over just kind of
Yeah.
sock over his head and covers his ears and reduces the volume like pretty drastically. And most of the dogs don't hate it. It takes them a little while to get used to it, but they deal with it better than other ones that we've tried.
Yeah, those are older kind of like, mutt muffs that went over the ears were always like the dog's like, I don't know what's going on
Yeah, yeah,
here.
trying to shake them off.
But the rec spec ones are awesome, especially because I think it's important too, if you're out on the range and you are shooting with your dog or around your dog, a pair of rec specs is also probably a good idea. Rec specs are great for debris, but they were actually made for UV protection because up in higher elevations, dogs were getting pannus in their eyes, which will cause blindness over time, and that's why they invented Rec Specs. But they're amazing for that. And the cool thing about the Rec Specs Ear Pro and the Eye Pro is they integrate really well together. So on the Ear Pro, there's actual like components to put the Eye Pro on so that it holds to the dog's head. And it actually holds really well. So, and like Matt said, the likelihood of your dog getting used to it pretty quick is high.
Yeah.
So that's why they work really well. Some of the newer stuff you're seeing a lot of dogs with helmets.
The canine helm.
And they're,
Is that the canine?
yeah, canine
You're
helm.
speaking of?
There's another one that's made overseas also, but they're doing, for their ear pro for it, they're doing like actual like walker headset click-ins.
That's the one
And so
out
you
of,
can actually talk to the dog.
that's the one out of France, right?
Yeah.
What brand is that? That's really nice.
Uh, yeah, that's the Dark Vision
Dark
systems.
Vision. Yeah, that stuff is
Yeah,
slick. That helmet. Plus, it has iPro that integrates. It is ear. It
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
pretty full on cool kid stuff.
Yeah, and then you can, hook a camera up to it and all this kind of stuff. You can do the same with the helm. They're just behind on the Ear Pro right now. But other than that, like those two systems, so you can go, do you want to spend $1,000 on a dog helmet and Ear Pro, or do you want to do the rec specs for, you're in it for $100 and you're getting what you want. The cool thing about the goggle system is you can talk to your dog, which is kind of cool. So you can you can actually be like, command your dog from a far distance just with like a check, and like it works pretty
And,
well.
and
So,
it'll run off a mic too, then, right?
hmm
So you can actually radio into the dog at a bazillion yards
yep,
away, theoretically, if I remember correctly.
yep,
I've seen some of that in place in places.
yep, yeah. They're doing a really big push for that in France,
Hmm.
and there's some pretty cool video of them like talking to the dog. And the dog, and they're like left, and the dog's like, "Burp," in the building, like searching left, and then oh right, and then yeah, it's
So
pretty impressive. So,
is left the French term, or is that? Yeah,
yep,
okay, just checking.
Ati, couche. So yeah, so that's the cool thing with it when it comes to like Ear Pro, especially being around firearms and stuff. One thing that I would always suggest is make sure you're building your dog up to getting around that because it's not just the sound, it's the overpressure, it's all that kind of stuff. That's something that's also
Oh,
important
part of it.
to think about if you have a dog around, firearms. On the safety side of it, one thing is I always carry a muzzle. No matter what, I have a muzzle in the car, a muzzle in a bag. If I have the dog with me, I have a muzzle.
Right.
I always, there was a saying that was told to me, a dog in pain is unreliable. So it doesn't matter if, it's the nicest golden retriever in the world. If it hurts its leg or something and you grab it, it might bite you. So, always carrying a soft,
Yeah,
vet
just
muzzle or, weak,
an inexpensive vet
any muzzle,
muzzle. Yeah, inexpensive vet muzzle is
right.
handy for stuff like that. It is especially
Yeah.
dogs in emergencies.
100% because and if you have a dog that's a little bit more prone to being an asshole, a muzzle's always good for that reason. So
Right.
um yeah, and then I carry a random, we sell a canine litter. It wraps into a little bag about this big. I throw that. Oh, I just hearted the
Yeah, that
screen.
was weird.
um you gotta give the yeah.
No, all right, I'm not as cute as you.
Yeah, anyway.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Laura, with your
Yeah, I'm
with
adorable.
your next one.
Do you guys have preferences on what dog breeds are probably best to travel with, or just any dog?
No.
I don't have a breed. I mean, so that, I guess it depends on if you're dog shopping. It depends on the goal, right? Like what do you want that dog for? I mean, obviously, if in your scenario, traveling, wanting a dog that has a little bit of something to it that can at least be a warning or be of assistance if something goes sideways. That's pretty handy to have. But short of goals like that, or if you want something high energy, everybody should have a Malinois and a Dutch Shepherd. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody go out and buy a Malinois. That's what I.
The internet
Uh,
just freaks
yeah,
out when they hear
so
that.
everybody can lose their mind. But no, I mean, want to look at the energy level, how much stuff you're going to be doing. If you're traveling with him, is he just really going to be sitting in the car a lot, or is he actually out and you're active and you're hiking and you're doing stuff with him day in and day out? Those are the things for me. Making decisions a breed based on that breed's goals. There may be a jaded dog trainer or two about this.
Yeah, for me, I think that, like I don't like traveling with spicy dogs, only because I don't, like I'm not looking for the extra component to help or, guard or anything like that. But, I definitely see, especially with like, again, like you said, it's the end goal. If you can stick with something that you want and you're training it and you're putting the effort into it and you're buying your gear from rayallen.com, then you can, but it's really dependent on the person. My next one, I just want, like a smart, fluffy border collie that has no hate in his body. Like I'm done with the hate.
You done with hate?
Like
I
I'm
love a
done with
good
the
border
hate,
collie,
man.
so I can get behind that one.
I do too. I do too. I just love them, and I had Mals for a while now, and they have a lot of hate in their bodies, and traveling with them, becomes spicy if you're on a plane or anything like that. So I try to stick with the nice, fluffy, fun ones.
So accessories. So like tie outs, food and water storage. What do you guys recommend for traveling?
So for me, I kit everything. So
I
swim
don't know
trap.
how you got into that.
What'd you say?
I said I don't know how you got into
Right,
that.
right,
That's
yeah, yeah.
maybe you
I
should
like
make a profession out of kidding
right.
things.
I like yeah. I like to kit stuff. So tie outs for me typically I want something at least something cable or chain, so I don't have to worry about it somebody chewing through it. And then I'm gonna have a leash, a collar, some kind of limited slip collar, like a what you would call a greyhound collar or a martingale collar, so that I don't have to worry about my dog backing out of it. I run a backup on almost everything. So I've got, if I want to tie the dog out, which I would do quite a bit, if I'm camping with him, something like that, and I don't want to have to deal with him, or uh, I want him to be out but not necessarily social, or he's not necessarily social, so I want to be able to keep him sort of contained but still have him out. Or if there's a panic and I just need to put him up, I want some kind of tie out, some kind of limited slip collar, and then some kind of backup collar to that, whether it's chain or a flat collar, and then a leash, collapsible water bowl. And normally I kind of kit all that stuff together. And now Roughwear makes a really nice like food container bag thing that's pretty slick. We've used that in the past to
Yeah.
travel. And then, like I said, the collapsible bowls, and then crating the dog. I mean, I crate my dog most of the time when I'm traveling. I very rarely have my dog actually loose in the car. But again, I think that's goal dependent.
My little fluff ball's loose with me all the time.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that people do that. And I mean, I'm not saying I don't travel with a dog loose because certainly I have quite a bit. But you want to think about things like if you're in an accident, what happens? That dog now becomes a projectile because he can't hold on to anything. So his safety is better if he's crated or he's in a seatbelt harness or something like that. Crates just make things really secure, and I'm always going to have a crate because it's really easy, to throw the dog up in the crate and then just not to have to worry about him. If I'm out and we're going to eat or we're cooking or something like that, and I just don't want to have the dog underfoot. It's easy to pitch him in a crate
Yeah.
and not have to stress. Or if I've got one, like Matt said, a little bit spicy, chances are I'm going to want to have him crated a fair bit. So I'm almost always going to bring a crate with me.
Yeah, for me, it's same list. I always keep a long line because when I do tie outs, if I don't have a spicy dog, but I want the dog to be able to move, I'll do a long line between two trees and put a leash on it so they can just go back and forth, give them a little exercise, so stuff like that, you can add. But again, I think it's dependent on the dog and the person and where you're going. If you go to a hotel, absolutely bring a kennel. Um, Anything like that, you're going to need a kennel just because, like what Matt said, like if you just need to put them up because you guys are going to dinner, you guys are going out, and you don't want that hotel bill of destructing, of your
Yeah,
room.
because the neighbors
So
are partying and Fluffy decides he needs to do something about it.
right, yeah, he just gets mad and thinks that this pillow is his enemy right now.
Right.
So.
Knowing your dog is important, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think that makes like dependent, you can have the generalized gear of like med kit and food and water and kennel and that kind of stuff, but knowing your dog and what the purpose of it is, where the gear really comes into effect.
Okay. And one of our questions from our polls, but you guys have kind of already answered it, was do you guys ride in the car with the dogs in kennels or do you ride them in the cab? And if you do, how do you keep them from running around? I think you guys have kind of both covered that with you just
It's called a
put them in
kennel.
a kennel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's probably kennel or
Okay.
Yeah,
the seatbelt restraints. I mean, I've never used one, but
right.
theoretically those work pretty well. And if I think I've got a dog that's going to dance around the car, I for sure crate him because I don't need him causing the accident. I actually, a long time ago, uh, had slammed on the brakes on the flipping. No, I'm sorry. I was driving. Dog fell off the seat, and hit the column shifter into the in reverse, doing 70 miles an hour on the highway. That made for an eventful couple seconds. So loose dogs can be a little stressful. Uh, but yeah, that was an exciting one. So there is some logic to not traveling with your dog loose. Uh, or I speak from experience,
Yeah.
maybe I should say.
Yeah, the projectile one is the one that scares the shit out of me,
Yeah, yeah, me too.
because I just have seen accidents, been in accidents, and just like like Matt, like, you've been on this earth for 76 years, so you understand, like you've just been around it for so long. But I mean, like you drive a lot, like that's, it's something that I've come to appreciate, when it comes to you, like how your dedication to driving is pretty wild. And, I'm like, it just kind of blows my mind because I'm like, just give me a plane ticket, but,
I like to drive.
the thing that kind of is crazy is you can think of like how many accidents you have just been in yourself, that were not caused by you or, just like the deer hitting the fucking van.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if the dog is in the car and the deer hits the van and you slam on the brakes, that dog is like, hello, so it's like that's always something I'm thinking about. So
yeah. No, for sure. I mean, like that accident you were just in, Laurel, with a dog in the car would have been way higher stress had it been loose versus crated. I mean, the seatbelt restraint probably is pretty handy for something like that, I guess. Like I said, I probably need to investigate those a little more. As I'm thinking about that, you're right. I was in a wreck, again, a really long time ago. I got hit by a drunk driver and on a soft top Jeep, and that dog came out of the car absolutely fine, but it left the vehicle in the midst of a spin, and I spent a couple minutes getting it collected up because it happened to be a sled dog. Uh, so she was anyway. So
it was like, let's
right,
go.
yeah. I mean, she was absolutely fine, and short of a little panic from headlights and people and stuff going on, she was rolling. So it took me a few minutes to get her back under control. But yeah, I can appreciate loose dogs are at least higher risk.
Okay, so Ray Allen has been in business for quite a while, is that right?
Yep, 75 years.
All right, so in that 75 years, you guys have only been located in Colorado Springs, is that correct?
Yep, it started at an on Kit Carson, which is now Fort Carson, which is in Colorado Springs. It's an Army base there. Started there in 1948, down the street, and we have never moved. We stayed there.
Everything you guys make, harnesses, collars, leashes, is all made there in the one warehouse, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have some Amish vendors that make some of that kind of stuff, but the majority of our Ray Allen core products, all of them are made in-house in Colorado Springs. Made in America, baby.
Made in Colorado, and I mean, almost everything that's sewn is made by us if it wears a Ray Allen brand,
Right.
and we have our own line of
Yeah.
crates. We have a Ray Allen line of crates that's aluminum crates, stuff like that. So if you're looking for a quality dog crate, I mean, the biggest thing for us is we build stuff for working dogs. That's our primary focus. So I mean, the when you're looking at companies that make equipment, like you won't find anything we build at PetSmart or anything like that. Most of the stuff we do is law enforcement, government, or sort of professional trainer side of things. So you're looking at a fairly high end piece of gear as far as that goes. We don't focus on consumer dog equipment. I guess as most companies do. Our focus has strictly been on high quality U.S. built stuff that goes to a lot of cool places, and we build everything from like heated air conditioned aluminum kennels that come off a C-130 to to cruiser inserts to heat alarms and harnesses, and if you need to fast rope out of a helicopter, we probably have something for you as far as that goes. We make
Yeah.
a lot of really fun stuff and get to I've gotten to do a lot of really cool stuff over the years.
Yeah, and I think the best part about that is, depending on like gear that you're running, right, and this on your side of it, the rifle side, and you're running bags and stuff like that. Like, if it's made, if we can trust it for like going out of a helicopter, you can definitely trust it going on a hike. So it's like
Yeah,
it's like like I I always hate that scenario of the leash snapping or the harness popping because you bought something from PetSmart and your dog saw a squirrel. Like I want to make sure, especially with my dog being a little spicier, I want to make sure that everything holds up. So trusting that equipment's really important for us, and we wouldn't be in business for 75 years if you couldn't trust the equipment. So
yeah, or snaps. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that
yeah,
like you can actually sew two pieces of nylon together or two pieces of leather together and get them to stay and hold quite a bit, and then all of a sudden you attach junk snaps to it, and the snap becomes the failure point, or the D ring becomes the failure point because it's not welded or whatever. I mean, there's just so many things that can go sideways. Uh-oh, who's that?
this is Anubis,
The spicy dog.
the spicy boy. Oh, butt scratches. Okay.
All right, so all the cool gear you talked about is made from Ray Allen, is that right?
Pretty much.
At Ray Allen,
And
yep.
you can find that at website, Instagram. Where all can you find you guys?
Yeah, everything is Ray Allen. We're not the basketball player, I promise. We are rayallen.com is our website, Ray Allen K9 on all the socials. So that's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. We also, we have a K9 app, so you can find us in the App Store. You can find us.
No, the app is under Ram K9. Ram K9 Training.
Ram K9.
Training, yeah.
Yeah, so Ray Allen Manufacturing is the full name. So
you'll see a lot of stuff.
but you can find
you'll see a lot of our stuff labeled RAM, which stands for Ray Allen Manufacturing.
Yeah. So yeah, you can find all that rayallen.com or hit us up on Instagram, and you can follow the links there. So and
Awesome.
you can see
Thank
a
you,
bunch of both our pretty faces if you go to our YouTube. So do that. But all right, thank you so much for having me on, having Matt on. It was awesome. Thank you, Laurel.
Which Matt were you thanking?
No problem. Thank you.
Which Matt were you thanking for? Was it? Were you thanking him?
You?
You're thanking him for me.
No, I said, yeah. I said, yeah, because we work at the same company.
I'm just checking. I don't know. It was a little confusing here. I thought.
I know you forget that we work for the same company.
Yeah, jokes. I got it. You're killing me, kid.
Okay, thank you guys for coming and chatting about all things dog related and traveling on the podcast Adventures in Precision.